You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. With the only Chris Level, I'm Casey Cowan. Today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Chris and I dropping back in on the fly to talk Red Raider hoops news, and this kind of fun, Chris, because we have spent a lot of time talking about some of those key contributors that were already Red Raiders and what their future may hold. But in this instance, we're talking about a newcomer in the form of the first edition of this cycle for Grant McCasland and company, and it's in the form of Tyeree Bryan. So want to get into this fit and kind of how he came to be on the radar of Texas Tech. But here we go. As far as new names to get familiar with, here's the first one on the list.
Yeah, Tyeree Bryan from Santa Clara. This is a 6'5", 200+ pound guard that I think can, this is going to be like, and I'll try to talk in terms of like this year's team, but also there's an unknown here because you don't know what all is cooking in the stew just yet. And so you don't know what it's going to taste like and what you're going to ask certain guys to do. But I'd be willing to bet you that this is similar to like an Overton, Kerwin Walton, Chance McMillan type guy. And I think you've got small, medium, and large there as far as like, whoa, okay, or okay. I mean, and all three of those guys, I mean, had obviously Chance is the best player of that trio, and Chance is was the most consistent of that. But there's other bright spots with the other two as well. And we saw that on both ends of the floor at different times. And heck, I mean, in some cases, those other two guys were your leading scorers in different games. So I don't know yet to know what he is going to be asked to do or what role. And maybe Grant will just accumulate the pieces and say, let's sort it out. I don't know. Maybe it's not, you're going to even go that far with it. But I know this, he's a really good shooter. I think 38% in conference, 42% on the season from behind the arc. He is definitely a two-way player. He was one of Santa Clara's. He's real handsy. He deflects a lot of passes. I think over 40 minutes per possession. I think he would accumulate that would equal like a couple of steals a game, which is pretty good. And he's got some of that length. You talk about wanting to get bigger at guard or on the wing and everything like that. And I think that's what does this. Again, I just don't know exactly. Is it more Chance McMillan? Is it more Kerwin Walton, or is it someone like Kevin Overton? But that's kind of the player that you are that you've added here. I will tell you too. Back in January, this cat went for 35 at Gonzaga. I mean that's pretty salty. But then there was a stretch in late March, early February where he wasn't scoring a whole lot at all. And then he was able to finish the season, well over double digits in like, I think 5 of his last 7 games or something like that. So, but he's a double digit scorer, a plus rebounder. And again, he was one of 4 or 5 double digit scores on average for Santa Clara. So, you're going to see more of these kinds of names where you've really got to acclimate, and then you try to figure out, okay, how does it fit? This is what Grant and his staff are so good at.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I mean, a guy that you're describing that can play on both ends of the floor, a guy that adds some length, and somebody that I thought I saw on over 150 attempts was shooting 43% from beyond the arc. I think he'll fit in just fine. I think he can find some things within that skill set that apply to what Tech's really been doing in the Grant McCasland era. And I don't know what the personality of next year's team will be, but a lot of those things were coming in handy for Texas Tech this time around. I wonder, Chris, as far as this, being one of the first that pops, was this, something you can describe as an initial target or a primary target or somebody they've had identified for a period of time? I don't know if, I really think of it necessarily the right way when just sort of thinking about how you would prioritize targets, because I'm sure it can kind of break down in some different categories. But how would you kind of put him within the landscape of maybe what they're trying to go after?
I'm going to be as honest and transparent as I can be here. I have no idea, because it's been wild to figure out. Like, I think that there's probably folks they were interested in initially that it changes so fast, and you're trying to it's a juggling act, and it's not. This is different than the speed dating thing, but it's because I think in football, more often than not, everybody was getting into the portal largely at the same time, and it was a bit more squeezed. This is a bit more open-ended, and because the delays and the end of seasons and things like that. But I think I think it's fair to say he's probably, I can't tell you that, hey man, he ranked top on their board, but I'd be willing to bet you he was amongst the first wave of people to look at it. Think about it.
First, today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Whether it's sports, music, comedy, or beyond, we all love going to live events. And now Gametime has made it even easier to get tickets for your favorite events with their new feature, Gametime Picks. This feature trims all the fat to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You'll always find can't beat deals. Plus, the app's all-in pricing shows the total cost up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app today, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime.
You need guards. They are fond of mid-major types that are good players, and it really helps if you can shoot it. I mean, he just checks a lot of that, and the 6'5", the length and all that, because you need to get bigger. If you had your druthers, but I just think there's a lot to like here. I'd be willing to bet you that you look at most analytical data here as it relates to him, and he's gonna grade out very, very well. I've seen enough footage of him and watched enough video to where he can lead a fast break. He can finish on a fast break with a pull-up three. He can, initiate a fast break by stealing a pass, and with the steals we talked about. And he's a good-looking kid from the standpoint of, 6'5", plays well at this deal. So,
Yeah.
but the 42%. If that translates, that's again, that's Kerwin, that's Chance, that's Darion, that's what you've kind of been accustomed to, and Christian Anderson obviously too. So we'll kind of see where it goes here.
I don't think it's a fluke. And, honestly, one of those things that you think about coming from a smaller league or something like that, how does it translate? A guy that can put the ball through the hoop, that tends to kind of stay the same. We got same size hoops over here, same size basketballs, everything, and maybe even some better opportunities if you got some things opened up because of forces inside. But you like that. I think he was near or at 40% first time around on this level, and then bumped up a few as well. Like I said, 43% last time around. So, interesting to get another guy with a trigger like that on campus. Stand by for the next development. And you specifically, Chris, going to need you whenever it may come. So enjoyed it once again, and we'll see you for that one.
All right. Enjoyed it. Santa Clara. Who knew? Well, we did. Maybe. I don't know. But, yeah, welcome to town, Tyeree. Welcome to town, sir.
Banana slugs? I could be off. Steve Nash? I don't know. They kind of run together.
I think they're the Broncos. I think you're talking about
Broncos.
Somebody. Yeah, I think you're talking about somebody different.
And thank you for this one. All right. Thank you all for being out there. Get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. And we hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.